That night, she gently walked into the bedroom where he had slept alone for months. Without hesitation, she gently sat down next to him, whispering, "I miss this embrace." He wrapped his arms around her without a word. Just lips, touching lips as if they had never been apart. The soft light covered every movement. Her skin trembled slightly with each gentle caress, not hasty, not intense, but gentle, like a healing love song. She gasped as his hand slid through each strand of hair, each patch of skin that had not been touched by anyone for a long time. This time, "Don't leave again," he whispered in her ear. They merged together as if there had never been a crack. There was only the intertwined breath, the heartbeats beating together, and the tears of happiness that no one wanted to hide anymore. "Tucker, you still love me?" she whispered, almost not daring to breathe. He looked at her, his eyes filled with memories. "I thought my heart was dead, but it was just sleeping. You came back, and it hurt again." She bit her lip, tears falling silently. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want to start over, if possible." He turned away, then suddenly squeezed her hand, strong, full of emotion. "Don't promise, don't apologize, just stay. Let me know this isn't a dream." He stood there, silently looking at her body, thinner, but still the shape that had kept him awake. "I still remember this place, where you first kissed." She placed her hand on his chest, feeling the irregular heartbeat beneath his hot skin. He pulled her back, not with words, but with burning, passionate kisses that seemed to wash away all the years of separation. She gasped, soft moans escaping uncontrollably. "It's been so long. I haven't been loved, like a real woman," she choked, her hands gripping the bedsheet. He held her hips tightly, his lips sliding down to her lower abdomen, slowly, caressingly. Then he stopped, looking at her. "This time, I will love you enough for all the years we've been apart." He looked at her, his eyes burning. She whispered, "Tonight, I want to be your woman, not your ex-wife, not your mother, but the one you once loved so much." He gently squeezed her waist, pulling her close, their lips touching, trembling. The dress fell to the floor. Her soft body appeared under the light like wet silk. He leaned down, placing slow kisses on her neck, on her chest. Each gesture was soft as the wind, but burned like fire. She gasped, her body arched under his tongue. He whispered in her ear, "Tonight, I will love you, as if tomorrow there is no one between us." His hand slid down her inner thigh, exploring the soft, moist place that was trembling in anticipation. He whispered, "You're wet," she whispered. "It's your fault. I'll make it up to you." She bit her lip lightly, moaning softly, her whole body melting as he entered her, deep, slow, overwhelming. The rhythm of their embrace, sometimes urgent, sometimes slow, seemed to be drawing a love song with flesh. The sound of heavy breathing, the sound of wet collisions, mixed with the sound of the night rain falling outside the window. They loved each other, as if they had never broken up, as if they had never been apart, infatuated to the core, both mind and body. "Thank you for coming back," he whispered. "Thank you for still waiting for me." She replied, then reached out to pull him down. Once again they were entangled with each other. She playfully said, "Now it's round 2, my love. This time, I will love you to make up for all the years we've been apart." In the riding position, he looked at her passionately and whispered, "You're still beautiful and attractive." He looked at her, as if he was seeing her as a woman for the first time. Not his ex-wife, not the mother of his child, but the lover who had made him crave for so many lonely nights. She leaned down to his ear and whispered, "If you still need me, then keep me tonight, like a real woman." He didn't answer. He just squeezed her hand tightly, pulling her close to him, his hand caressing her. Her smooth, exposed skin seemed to be inviting each passionate kiss. "I've waited so long for this moment," he whispered, his hand stroking down her spine, sliding down to her small waist, then forcefully pulling her towards him. His lips engulfed hers. A deep, suffocating kiss. His tongue slowly slid, caressing, then pushed deeper, teasing, possessing. His hand didn't stop, moving down, exploring every place she had forgotten how much she had desired. The full breasts were held by his two hot hands. He bent down. His tongue rolled around the nipples, sucked lightly, then sucked hard. Making her moan softly, her body arched as if about to melt. "Don't stop," she whispered, her legs unconsciously clamped around his waist, pulling closer, skin touching skin, their bodies stuck together like two fires colliding in the middle of the night. He picked her up, put her on the bed. Her long, white legs crossed his hips, her fingers hooked around his back, rubbing tightly. His hand slowly stroked from her knees to her inner thighs, sliding gently to her softest, moistest place, warm, trembling, and waiting. "When did you get wet again?" he whispered in her ear, his voice low like a seduction. She blushed, her lips trembled slightly, nodded slightly, then pulled his head down, as if begging, as if surrendering, and he entered her, slowly, deeply, very deeply, as if to make up for all the days of leaving her alone. She bit his shoulder lightly, each thrust making her body ripple, swaying between the soft mattress and intermittent moans. Their bodies twisted together. The rhythm was intense, then slowed down, then flared up again like a rolling wave. He whispered passionate words right in the middle of love. "Do you know, every inch of your skin is always the place I want to get lost in?" She screamed softly as her climax came, her legs tightening around his waist, clinging to him as if drifting in the middle of a drunken night. Drops of sweat dripped down her chest, sparkling in the dim yellow light. At the end, they lay side by side, silent, breathing heavily. But in that breath was forgiveness, was love, was the last embrace, complete and sweet, just being. "Loved like this, I will never leave again," she whispered, resting her head on his chest, where his heart beat peacefully and gently. The next morning, she woke up in his arms. He kissed her forehead gently, whispering, "If yesterday was just a dream, then I wish I could dream forever." The door to the room opened. The boy ran in. "Mom, I made breakfast for you." She laughed, tears welling up. She ran to hug her son. He walked over and hugged both of them, a peaceful smile filling the void of the old years. She said, "Thank you for giving me a chance to come back." He tightened his arms. "Thank you for choosing to stay. Perhaps none of us are perfect, but when love is big enough, forgiveness is no longer a weakness. But it is the way hearts find each other, intact after many storms." Thank you for listening to the series Some Mistakes Hurt, but Love Still Heals. If you have ever shed a tear or seen yourself in this story, leave a comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to spread the love with Midnight Musing Stories. See you again in a new story, another emotional journey.